Larry Bird often gets compared to Luka Doncic because their game is kinda similar.
Luka's got a pass with the basket all the way to the hole.
Wait a minute, Luka.
But as good as Luka Doncic is today, Larry Bird was even better.
I would be afraid to play against Luka. I'm telling you personally, that's how good he is. He's this much below Larry Bird, or maybe that much. But Larry Bird would put fear in me and everyone else just like Luka does.
As great as Luka is a passer, I think Bird was better.
I agree with that.
You know, as great as, Luka's been shooting clutch and all that, I think Bird was a better clutch shooter.
Agreed.
As great as Luka's rebounding is, I mean, the guy averages 9 rebounds. We know Bird was an elite rebounder.
Well, he averaged 10 for his career.
Yeah, he averaged 10 for a career, which is it's tough to do.
However, you gotta admit that if Larry Bird played today, he would look a lot like Luka Doncic.
2 seconds left. Into Bird. He fires. Yes! And the Celtics win!
Got to get it in. Here's Luka. Gets it away. It's gone! A Doncic dagger!
I've never compared a player to him until now. I'm talking about pace, court vision, and versatility.
Oh, my goodness.
What a find by Luka.
That play right there, that's what gave me the Larry Legend flashbacks. I was like, I've seen that before. And I'm not saying it because of their skin. I'm saying it because of their pace. Larry Bird, in the modern game, if he was facing the floor as the primary ball handler, he would look like Luka.
Luka splits a double. Keeps the dribble alive. All the way to the hoop. Scoop to the hoop with a ball. Point 71 and 72.
And one.
Beginning in the neighborhood of his uniform number.
But if Luka Doncic can score 73 points in a game today, just imagine if Luka was 3 inches taller, shot the ball 3 times better, and was actually an all-NBA defender. That was Larry Bird. And if he played today with the ball in his hands every possession, with the green light to shoot a 3 every single time down the court.
Larry Bird from 3. Yes! Larry Bird! Woo! A 3-point shot with 4 seconds to go, and the Celtics lead by 1. Oh, mercy!
In objectively the softest era of all time, he would be even better now than he was back then.
Larry Bird, if he played today, Ephraim, might be better than in his day.
If Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be the MVP of the league, and his team would still be winning championships.
Larry Bird could play in any era and do the same thing he did in our era. It couldn't handle him. Today's players could not handle him.
No, man, he's one of the top players to ever play in any era. His game translates, period.
Great size, great intelligence, terrific passer, great shooter. He would kick butt today. Teams would probably try to isolate him in switches, and I don't know if he'd make all defensive teams like he did back then. Guess what? He had 1,500 steals in his career. He'd pick their pockets anyway.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
Larry Bird, great in any era. That's an easy one.
But unfortunately, some people don't see it that way.
Like, are you kidding me? Larry Bird in this era? Are you kidding me?
That's what be boiling my blood. But
it'd
people
been more
don't-
rough though.
For who?
For Larry.
How?
And it starts.
What you mean?
How?
Just the physical
He's
capability.
6'10", dude.
That's a lot of
240.
6'10". Nah, it's a lot of that.
And
That's all I'm saying. He birthed that. Don't get me wrong, he birthed it. I'm just saying we hadn't seen it
Who's
then.
going to be matched up against Larry Bird? Karl Anthony Towns.
That's a nightmare, man.
For Karl Anthony.
Okay, I'll put it this way. If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. So I'm just letting you know, man. Really? Today's world? Oh, hell no. That's no way. No way.
I mean, I get the emotional attachment to Larry Bird and all this, but listen to the statement, though. Listen to the statement that was made. In today's era, in this game.
Okay.
In this game.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't be the superstar that he was then now. You got to think about today's game. Today, things he was doing today.
Can I make a public address?
Go ahead.
We have pre-shows sometimes. We talk about you take this side, I take this side.
Yeah.
And this situation
You don't have to do that.
is not playing that way because
I'm trying to figure out what the hell K-Mac talking about. It's Larry Bird. Because what the hell are you talking about?
I'm telling you, I'm not going to go as far as say he will be in Europe because because he's a better.
You don't think Larry Bird?
He's a better player.
Let me ask a question. What you think?
But he wouldn't be that. As vaunted as he was in that era, he wouldn't be that. He wouldn't be that in today's NBA.
But I'm saying, what is he gonna do? But what is he gonna do with KD? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, KD is
what is he gonna
What
do?
is KD gonna do with Bird? Bird is unguardable.
I was just about to ask that.
Ain't nobody stopping
KD
from scoring.
I get it. I'm just saying, like,
ain't nobody stopping Larry Bird from scoring. Because that dude can play basketball. Really play basketball.
No, 100%.
Really play basketball.
100%.
Hey, bro, really play basketball.
That's not what.
So you tell me Luka's game is better than Larry Bird game in today's game?
Nah, I don't know, man.
Larry Bird 6'9", doing everything Luka do right now.
I get it because of his height. I get it because of his height.
He can shoot.
His skill set and everything.
Okay, but he can shoot great for that era. Everybody shoots like that now.
So
everybody.
He barely
Draymond Green shoot close to that now. Everybody shoots like that now.
No. And this is why this channel exists. Because Larry Bird was literally in a class of his own when it came to shooting the basketball. Because he was the first player in NBA history to average 50% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. Becoming the very first member of the 50-40-90 club. In fact, until Kevin Durant did it in 2023, Larry Bird for 35 years was the only player ever to have multiple 50-40-90 seasons while averaging at least 20 points per game. Larry Bird was truly ahead of his time and in a class all by himself.
Larry Bird winning the long-distance shootout for the third year in a row.
So no, everybody does not shoot like that now.
So what I'm saying is Larry Bird was slower than most people think, right? Larry Bird was slower than most people think. He should be easier to defend because everybody now is the same 6'8", 6'9" on the perimeter. Everybody that he's going to face.
Wow.
I'm just telling you.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. It is. That's the way it is.
That
doesn't mean he's a bad player. That doesn't mean he wasn't a good player. What I'm saying is he wouldn't be that superstar he was then in today's game. That's all I'm saying.
I adamantly disagree with that. 6'9" guy that can handle the ball, that can shoot threes. What's the difference? He can shoot right hand, left hand. I mean, he can put the ball on the floor. That
it
dude
was 1 out of 10 back then. He's one out of every 3 today.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? It's different. It's just different.
It's not some players that would be just as great in any era. He's one of them all day long.
Okay.
All day long.
He wouldn't be that superstar.
And it's not even close.
Well, can't save them all.
And to those people who go, Larry Bird couldn't play in today's era. Larry Bird is a better player than Luka Doncic. And Luka's killing. You telling me Bird wouldn't dominate?
Yeah.
He's a better player than Luka Doncic.
Right.
Larry Bird, if he played today, Ephraim, might be better than in his day because he'd be shooting more three-pointers, and he's one of the greatest shooters ever. And I think he was a better passer than LeBron. I don't think it's even a discussion.
Now, how about we ask some of the NBA legends that actually played against Larry Bird what they think?
Larry Bird could play in any era and do the same thing he did in our era. It couldn't handle him. Today's players could not handle him, period.
J.J. Redick made some comments also about Bird. He said he isn't a top 5 shooter, and he also didn't have the physicality that you have today, and you responded to that.
He's stupid. I mean, it's a stupid comment because Larry Bird played in the most physical era ever. He's 6'10", almost 6'11", and he was physical himself. To say that he wouldn't be able to play in this league because this league too physical, like, what league you watching? I tell you what, you ask any guy who played against him, I mean, guys with their right frame of mind, they're going to tell you something totally different than what some of these guys trying to get their likes and and trying to get their social media likes up and all that stuff. That's all it's about. Because if you knew the game from the inside out, and as a player, you would never say nothing stupid as that.
It's unfortunate that people don't really know Larry Bird to that extent. But Larry Bird, when he first came into the game of basketball, was actually a slasher, a guy that would drive to the basket and dunk on you. That was his game. He had a nice jump shot, but he had a lot of athletic ability. throughout the years of playing with so many good players, Larry Bird decided to pass the ball, spot up shooting. But when he first came into the NBA, he was really, really more of an athletic guy, as Magic Johnson was, that would really drive the ball inside you and just score every time. So definitely, Larry Bird was the MVP before I got into the NBA. He would be an MVP right now if he played in it. With the shooting touch that he had, I mean, obviously he had a great touch. He won the three-point contest. I would say that Larry Bird he's tougher, bigger, stronger than the kid from Dallas. If Luka's doing 27 a game, Larry's scoring 35 a game. So it would be 10 points added on, 5 rebounds added on.
My personal opinion on Larry Bird, if Larry Bird was playing today, he would still be the MVP of the league, and his team would still be winning championships. Now, why do I say that? Because we just watched the Joker, who is very similar to Larry Bird, take his Denver Nuggets team and win the championship. So if I look at these two players and if I'm saying they're similar, then Bird would probably win 2 or 3 championships in this era also.
In this era right now.
Yeah. You know, out of all the players we played against, when Larry Bird caught the basketball, we were most afraid of him. And it's hard for young people to understand, because those of us who was around in the 80s, who really got to see him and the Boston Celtics play, the dude, he just didn't miss. And when he missed, you were shocked that he missed.
Speaking of shooting threes, Coach, you at the three-point competition, walking in the locker room, who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I scored so bad because Leon Wood never crossed the three-point line. All he did was he always shot threes. So I thought he might be the competition. When I walked in there, he's sitting there, and I said, okay, now they're down to the nitty-gritty. Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this. I think they were a little nervous.
And during this three-point shootout, as Larry Bird hit 11 straight threes, he decided to hit one off the backboard just for fun.
Oh, wait a second, off the glass.
That chick's had my name on it for a week now, and I knew I was going to win this thing.
And if you go back and you look at the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Everybody shot like this.
That's true, right?
Everybody was imitating him, right? Come on, man, talk to me now. Everybody was imitating his shot just like that, right?
True.
You know,
that's true.
Nah, he was the dude.
He was the dude.
33 and green, he was the dude.
So you saying, what would Larry Bird do today? Here's your answer. The same thing he did in the 1980s. Larry Bird was amazing. He was arguably the best player in the world in the middle of the 80s when he won 3 straight MVP awards, joining Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell as the only players ever to do that.
Bird 3 straight MVPs.
He did.
I mean, Bird came in and he changed the game. He made us watch basketball. In his, second year, I believe, he won a championship?
He did.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
Here's how good Larry Bird was, Ephraim. The year before he got to Boston, they won 29 games. He goes there, and they win 61. And then the next year, they win the championship.
Then we get down to, what are you made of? Because I can tell you what Larry Bird was made of. We're talking about Jordan-esque cold-blooded killer.
Yeah.
That's who he
100%.
was. Cold-blooded killer on the basketball court. Basketball assassin was Larry Bird.
And if he played today, Larry Bird would still be getting buckets against brothers. In fact, he might be even better because of the prominence of the three-point line.
Rich, I don't know. I think he might average 30. I mean, here's the thing. Nobody could ever rush Larry Bird. I know guys are way more athletic now, but his ability to shoot the ball, depending upon the team he's on, like he can get anywhere he wants to be and shoot over smaller players. And he was one of the most crafty players the game has ever seen. So I think his game translates to any time period.
Bird's basketball acumen, IQ, passing ability, and one of the best rebounding forwards ever, was the best shooter of his generation. And one could argue, with the emphasis on three-point shooting, that Bird would be a more dominant offensive player. And this is how Bird's first 9 years before his back went out, how he finished in MVP voting. 4th, second, 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 first, 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 third, second. Larry Bird would be able to play in any era.
That dude can play basketball. Really play basketball.
No, 100%.
Really play basketball.
100%.
Hey, bro, really play basketball.
That's not what